Welcome everybody back to another episode of This Week in Elite, where this week we're talking about the mysterious signing from Full Gear. Ooh, so mysterious.
Yeah, who was it going to be? No one knew. Everyone was speculating, but no one actually came up with this idea. It's kind of a novel idea where they had Will Ospreay actually be signed to AEW. Kind of a lesser known talent.
Underground guy, nobody knows him.
Yeah, nobody really knows him. I don't think that he really made the splash with his signing that they wanted him to.
Yeah, no, so Will Ospreay got signed while he was still currently under New Japan contract.
Which is just, I mean, it makes sense to me. I feel like it's good business for New Japan to let AEW kind of get first dibs on that bidding war.
Absolute power move.
It became very obvious that, like, he wasn't re-signing with New Japan.
Yeah.
He had expressed previously that he wanted to be able to stay in England, but had more recently shown more of a willingness to move stateside if the money was right.
Under this contract, he's still in England, right? He still stays there?
Under this contract, he doesn't have to move stateside. So this is what I think. I think that AEW has gone to New Japan and gone, let us pitch a contract to him while he's still under contract with you so that he stays in a system where you can still use him. And New Japan's gone, that's a smart idea. We're smart business people. Let's do that.
And they shook business hands.
They shook business hands. And then Tony Khan's gone to Will Ospreay and he said, hello, Mr. Will Ospreay. How would you like to get comparable money to WWE and you don't have to move to the United States? And Will Ospreay said, I don't have to move to that shithole? Oh my God.
Well, that's the good thing with AEW just being a general promotion that acknowledges other promotions exist, is that you can have stuff like Forbidden Door. You give them slowly more mainstream exposure. And then by the time they're in your company, people know them already. People like them. Like, I had never heard of Will Ospreay until he showed up on AEW. I wasn't following New Japan stuff. And I'm like, damn, this guy kind of rocks.
I will be fair to Will Ospreay. He was making headlines since like 2015. It's been known that he's like the next big thing in wrestling for a long time. I mean, he had a match with Ricochet that was highly criticized, but also highly praised.
And wait, Ricochet got signed to WWE, but he didn't?
Like I said, up until recently, he didn't want to move stateside.
So he's like, oh no, fuck the US, bruv. And that's what he said.
Based. Like...
We can't say too much disdain because we have mostly American audience.
You know your country's bad.
Oh my God. But no, I think this was an incredibly smart decision because it was a no-brainer that WWE was going to try and sign.
Yeah, I mean, that was all but confirmed.
If they continue this trend of kind of sniping out talent before WWE can get to them, if that makes sense, if they're in New Japan, a lot of new talent is just going to end up on AEW first. Like, that's just how it's going to be. I'm saying that not in a tribalistic sense, in a business sense. So I'm not being like, oh, I love AEW.
But also that, yes.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. So it's just a business thing. They are competitors. They're going to want independent talent, like, you know. I'm just saying this strategy that AEW has implemented of talking to New Japan, be like, hey, we're already like good business partners. People don't want to re-sign with you. We'll take them and you can still use them. Like, that's just smart business. WWE doesn't have that ability because they're not openly acknowledging that other wrestling promotions exist.
Even if they wanted to start doing that, they're a step behind because AEW has been doing that for like 4 years. Like, the whole time that they've been there, they've been talking with other promotions. Sure, they haven't always had the best working relationship with New Japan because they took like 4 of their biggest talent to start with. They have been in talks and open to that sort of working relationship the whole time. There is some amount of loyalty between AEW and New Japan.
But yeah, I find that interesting, and I find it a really smart business move. Like, you can lambast AEW for whatever you want to do, but it was a smart business decision what they did with Will Ospreay.
I was going to say, look, AEW doesn't have a developmental program, so this is kind of how they have to get new talent. Yeah. They need these signings if they want new talent. Some people would say, hey, effectively use all the talent that you already have, which, like, I agree to an extent. What the fuck's going on with Keith Lee? But at the same time, like, you do also need those big signings. Like, you need these big new names, people that are pre-established to be, like, main event level. Because, I don't know, when I look at the AEW roster, there's a lot of guys that I'm like, oh, you could get them to world championship level, but there's not a lot of guys that I'm like, they are at world championship level.
Where you think Will Ospreay's at that championship level?
Yeah, I think you could bring in Will Ospreay and immediately have him win the AEW championship and it wouldn't feel out of place. Keith Lee, if he won the AEW world championship right now, it'd feel a bit weird.
Yeah, that's fair. They need to build him up more.
Absolutely, he has the potential to be at world championship level, and all they need to do is give him the right storylines and the right builds because he's already got the charisma and the ring work down pat.
What do you think his Logan's fantasy booking? What do you think his first feud will be?
Okay, Logan's fantasy booking is kind of elaborate on this one.
Okay.
So the Young Bucks have been throwing a hissy fit.
Classic Young Bucks, fucking children.
Classic Young Bucks, just like in real life. Just like in real life, they're throwing a hissy fit. They always do this. The Young Bucks have been throwing a bit of a hissy fit. They've been mad at Kenny Omega. They're very mad at Kenny Omega for taking their title shot. So my pitch starts with the Young Bucks joining the Don Callis family.
Okay.
I can see it in my mind. Don Callis standing in the ring. And he goes, Don Callis family has signed some new talent, the best goddamn tag team in the world. They've finally gotten rid of the weight that's been around their neck for almost a decade. The Young Bucks. And out come the Young Bucks, and they kiss him on either cheek. They just cut a promo about how they've been held back by Kenny. You know, they've been too worried about their friends, and now they're only out to get money and get championships. They point out, under Don Callis, what did the Young Bucks do? Tag team champions. Trios champions. Don Callis out of the picture. What have the Young Bucks done?
Nothing.
They lost their championship match against FTR. They lost to Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. They're not in their best mental space right now. And Don Callis is the missing piece. So Don Callis family is now Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita, Will Hobbs, and the Young Bucks.
Cool.
When Will Ospreay shows up, and hopefully by this time Mark Davis is also back in action, immediately he's with Don Callis. Don Callis is like the biggest signing that the Callis family has ever seen. It's Will Ospreay. He's a part of the family, and Will Ospreay's kind of like, well, I'm associated with the family. Like he's non-committal. He doesn't want to be a part of the family. He's associated with the family.
He's like, hey, bruv, I don't want any of this.
Don Callis is like, I need you to face off against whoever they are feuding with at the time, right? I need you to beat this guy for me because you're our freaking ace. You're the one that we look to win these big matches, you know, big match Will. Have Will Ospreay win that match and then have Callis family come down to the ring, celebrate it like it's their win. Will Ospreay's kind of looking confused. He's into it with Aussie Open, but like everyone else, he's kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you here?
Who are you guys?
And I would then have sort of this building thing of like Will Ospreay kind of not really wanting to be a part of the Don Callis family, but like kind of going along with it. Not too long, maybe just like 2 or 3 weeks. And then I'd have Will Ospreay come out and like cut a promo on Don Callis at some point. Like Callis like introduces him and he comes out and he's like, I'm not a part of your family, bruv. What you want with me, bruv?
Perfect impression.
He goes, these two are my only family, bruv. And he points at Aussie Open. And then Don Callis is like, you're making a mistake, Will. Like these people are my family. They are loyal to me.
So you think the feud should be him versus Don Callis family?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He sicks the Don Callis family on Will Ospreay, and Will Ospreay goes, and Aussie Open come in and fucking start pounding on the Young Bucks. Takeshita and Will Hobbs are stomping out Will Ospreay, who comes out. Currently, it's 4-on-3. Who's making the save? Well, it's no other than Jeff fucking Cobb.
Okay, you want him signed?
I want Jeff Cobb on AEW TV. He's a big boy. And I like him. So it's United Empire versus Don Callis family. Obviously, United Empire are going to go over.
So here's the thing. Jay White came over and he brought Bullet Club, but made it Bullet Club Gold. Do we need another New Japan guy coming over and bringing his faction?
Yes, we do, because it's the United Empire, and I like that faction.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't want AEW to end up with a bunch of New Japan factions. That's my issue. I just want them to make their own factions.
I guess my thing is I don't see United Empire as a New Japan faction. I see United Empire as Will Ospreay's faction.
Okay.
I guess that's the distinction that I see, is like Bullet Club is a New Japan faction because it's been there for so long. It started there, it stayed there. Like, you know, the leader changed when people left New Japan. It didn't go with them.
Yeah.
With United Empire, it's not had a leadership change. Like, it's just been Will Ospreay's faction.
Fair enough, I guess.
I would do like maybe 2 or 3 faction-centric ones with him to start off with, and then I would kind of pivot into the single stuff.
Also, this goes without saying, right? He wins a belt in Wembley, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say, as much as I want Hangman to beat Swerve for the title, I do think Ospreay wins the AEW World Championship in Wembley.
Like, that's a no-brainer, right? It should be Will Ospreay winning World Champion. It should be Jamie Hayter either retaining or winning it. You know what, fuck it, let's get all English people on the belts. Who else is English? Give him a TNT. Give him an international.
Soraya can have the TBS.
Yep, cool, fair.
Pac gets the international championship back.
Yep, fair, again. TNT.
TNT, who's English. Nigel McGuinness comes back to wrestling. Danielson's the TNT champion going into Danielson versus McGuinness, and McGuinness wins.
Yeah, fair enough. Yep, sounds good. All right, done deal. Every English person wins in Wembley. Okay, well, you know, that's our little fantasy booking for Will Ospreay. We're excited to have him in the company in February. If you have any ideas for videos that you would like to see, you would like us to talk about a specific topic, leave that in the comments below. And yeah, thank you for watching another episode of This Week in Elite.
On This Week in Elite.